And thanks for tuning in to another exciting episode of the Unboxed Pearls podcast. I'm your host, Kelly. Please subscribe, like, share, and let us know any topics that you would like to explore in the comments. Just go ahead and place it in the comments right now. Go down to the comments. Today we come to inspire, enlighten, and have a really raw conversation on singleness and single motherhood, single parenthood. It's for the guys too. This is not only for the ladies, this is for the guys too. So I'm so glad that you decided to join us, but I'm honored. I'm so honored to introduce one of my friends. She is an awesome mother, daughter, sister, and friend. Erika, welcome. Welcome. Thanks for joining us on Unboxed Pearls podcast. And let me ask you, how you doing?
Well, thank you, Kelly. I am doing well. I am excited and a little bit nervous to be here. To
Look, it's
be
no
here.
reason to be nervous. We talk all the time. Y'all know this is just a raw conversation between
That
friends. So,
is true.
hey,
That is true. Just a raw conversation between friends with, who knows, thousands of you.
millions, millions. We're going for millions,
Millions of
millions of
viewers.
views. There you go.
It's just an
Around the world.
intimate conversation with millions of people.
Right, watching
No
us.
reason to be nervous, but
Yeah.
no, I am I'm doing great, and I am really excited. I've been looking forward to this, and just honored that you even asked me to be one of your guests on Unboxed Pearls.
Excellent. Thank you just so much for deciding to do this. And I know that it's going to help somebody. It's definitely going to inspire them just to hear your story. You know, you and I talked right before we prayed it in earlier. We talked about how in the church, a lot of times we have to really make it intentional that we come real. You know, we tell the real story because people think that our lives are perfect and everything is going well, and has been our whole lives, and we've never seen or done anything in our past. And we just
Right.
want to have the raw conversation. We want to just tell
Absolutely.
people so that they know they are welcome also. You're welcome to come on
Mhm.
in and see this God, this Jesus that we so
Yes.
often profess and love so very much. So, you know what
Mhm.
I'm going to do? I'm just going to go ahead and jump in. I'm going to
Okay.
jump in and I'm going to start asking you some questions. And I want you to just be raw about it, Erika, and I know you will. So the
Yeah.
first thing that we want to know, that everybody wants to know this, those million listeners and viewers of this podcast, what they
Right.
really want to know is, who's Erika? Tell us
Mm.
about
Well, like you just said, I'm a daughter.
you.
I am a sister. I am a mother, child of God first and foremost, but then a servant. Um, I am a single mother. That's what we're dealing with today's topic. I'm a single mother of three. I have an adult son and teenage daughters. I work full-time ministry, serving as a pastor. I've been ordained for, oh my goodness, the past 5, 6 years, but serving as pastor for a little less than 1 year, and have been in full-time ministry for 2 years. I actually left corporate America in 2022, a job I had been at close to 20 years. And so that was a big leap of faith, leaving something that I was comfortable in and jumping into full-time ministry. Um, but it has exceeded my wildest dreams. It's been fulfilling, frustrating, all at the same time. Um, but God is good, and He just continues to show me the more I obey Him, the more He just blows my mind. So, in a nutshell, that's who I am.
Wow, that's awesome. That is
Mhm.
awesome. And you know what, and I know you to be everything that you just said. I do. I know you to be that. I know that you're just awesome as a mother. Your
Mm.
children are definitely, if they don't feel it, let me tell y'all now, y'all number one. You know, I think she loved me. but I best not come for y'all. Okay, let me just be very clear on that. And then the
Oh,
mother, okay, mom,
okay, because I
you
am I'm a mama
okay,
bear. I am a true
right?
mama bear.
And I dare not bring that out.
Mm.
Not
Right.
happening on my watch. So, which is awesome, and that's the way it's supposed to be. Your kids ought to
Mhm.
feel adored and know the love that you have for them, and you certainly do show
Absolutely.
that, and you show that even with the rest of us. How you deal
Oh,
with us as friends. So, I thank you for that.
well, thank
Um,
you.
well, the question that I have for you, Erica, is: did you grow up with a single parent? Was your
I
mother a
did.
single mom?
She was not. I actually was blessed. I grew up with both of my parents. My parents were actually high school sweethearts. I want to say they met when they were, I think, 14. They went to school together, got married right out of high school at 18, and then had me at 20. And then I have a younger brother who's 4 years after me. So they were um, high school sweethearts, married right out of school, and then young parents, which is what they wanted. Um, my mother was a homemaker during our younger years, and my dad worked. And so I was blessed. He worked really hard. He had his own company and he worked a full-time job for the city as well. And he did all that so my mother could stay home and we could go to private school. And when I think early teenage years, my father moved us out of an apartment into the suburbs. So um, I guess by all accounts, I mean, I'm really blessed and was lucky. I grew up with both of my parents and, stay-at-home mom in the suburbs, went to private school. So I was really, really, really blessed. When you're younger, you don't always see it that way.
Mm-mm. Mama,
There was right.
uh-uh.
Right. I
That'll
didn't
work.
see
Mm-mm.
how blessed I was, and because my parents were pretty strict as well. So definitely didn't appreciate all of that, but now, I do. Growing up and becoming a parent myself, you take a little bit of it. There are some things that I don't do like my parents did, but there are a lot of things that I do find myself doing. A lot of the same rules that as a teenager I disagreed with, I see
Yeah.
myself implementing them with
Mhm.
my kids because now I understand, but some things they did, I don't do. I think you and I discussed this before that we grew up in a time where you really didn't question your parents. Even just asking why might be seen
Mhm.
as a sign of disrespect, but
Yeah.
I'm a little bit different. And I am strict too. Um, by today's standards, I think I'm strict,
Yeah.
but I am a little more willing to engage in a conversation with my daughters and my son too, but especially as I get older, I think I've become a little bit more lenient with my daughters, but because I want them to speak their mind. I want them to be comfortable speaking up for themselves and speaking their mind. And I think that begins with me showing them that they can do so in a respectful way. And if they truly don't understand something that I've told them to do, I'm willing to have that conversation as long as you approach it in a respectful way and we can have a conversation, but knowing that, hey, I'm still the authority figure. I'm still the adult, and what I say go. And then we're not going back and forth. I'm not going back and forth. We're not having an argument. And, so there have been times when I've kind of had to pull out the old because I said so. But but I am willing, if they want to know, well, mom, why? Why can't I go? Or, why do I have to do that? And I'll say, okay, well, I want you to understand you can't go here because, it's dangerous or, whatever the reason is. But then once I've given you that reason, it's over.
Yeah.
It's over. We're not going back and forth. We're not on an level playing field. I'm the adult, you're the child. So, but I think in growing up, I don't know that I would have been able to even do that. You know,
Yeah.
it was just strictly the, because I said so.
That's it. And that was the end.
That was
That was
the
the
end.
end of it. I said
Hmm.
so. So
Yeah,
I
that was the
one, I
end.
don't know why you're asking, and
Hmm.
two, because I said so.
Because I said so.
So
Yeah.
you should have started with the because I said so instead of even asking a little question
Right.
along the way.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, there
yeah,
you go.
absolutely. How much do you think your kids notice or they feel that you're strict? Like you felt your parents were strict. Do they feel
Hmm.
that? Do they like, man, my mama is
Hmm.
strict? Is
They do, because there are a lot of things that a lot of places they don't go that maybe they see their friends going, um, even in the way they dress. They are not dressing the way you typically see teenage girls dress now. They're more covered up. The hairstyles, um, like I said, they're teenagers. And so if you think about what a lot of the teenage girls are wearing now in 2024, my girls are not wearing the all the long lashes, and they are not wearing makeup. We just got into you can wear a little bit of tinted gloss, but that's it. They're not doing full, going to school with full beat faces and hair all the way down to their butt. They're more natural. Um, Now I've told them when they hit 16, yeah, we can do the makeup, but even then, age appropriate.
mm-hmm,
We don't need to you don't need to look like you're trying to be 25, you know. And so they do see because that's what, their friends are doing. And, I don't mean this to knock anyone else and what they choose to do with their parents, with their kids. But just for me, I want them to enjoy their childhood. There's plenty of time to wear the makeup. There's plenty of time to do the high heels and all that. But I really want them to be comfortable in who they are in their natural beauty. And so when they start wearing makeup, they know that that is just an enhancement. I don't need it. I'm comfortable without it, but sometimes I want to wear it, and if they do, that's fine. I want them to be, and they are. Um, in the earlier, like preteen years, I think those were a little harder because they started seeing the other girls, and so that one's when we really had to have a lot of the conversations about the makeup and the hair and all that. But now they really are comfortable in who they are. They love, their coily hair and the puffs, and sometimes they just wear full blown with blowouts and afros, and they'll put it in braids. They get the silk pressed. They will do it all, and they're comfortable with it all. Their hair is, and this, their hair is really 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 thick.
mm-hmm.
And they
A
have a
lot of it
lot
too.
of it. A
A lot
lot
of
of it. And so I have kind of jokingly threatened to put perms in their hair to make it more manageable. And they are like, no, no, I don't want you. They like the versatility of their
it.
natural hair. So
Yes.
I'm proud of them that they are really, really coming into their, themselves, and they're
Embracing it,
comfortable. They
embracing who
really
they
are.
are.
They
Yeah.
are embracing who they are. And um yeah, I'm proud. I'm proud. So, um,
Mm.
that was a long answer to your question. So, but
No, I
yes,
mean that was good though. That's good
yeah,
because
but
it you showed what you showed us is that because my next question was going to be why would you have to be strict with your children? And I can clearly see the answer to that, right? One, I got to protect them,
absolutely.
even if it's from themselves, because they don't know what's around the
Hmm.
corner. They just see other
Hmm.
people going around it and don't know what's around it. So
Right.
since you've been around the corner, you know what's around it, and like,
Hmm.
nah, that
Yeah.
doesn't hit me or land well with me.
Hmm.
But I love the embracing themselves piece,
Yeah.
teaching them how to be individuals and love the individual that they are,
Hmm.
because that is so important to so many of us. And I would say especially Black women,
Yeah.
where we don't embrace our hair. We don't embrace the color of our skin. We don't embrace
Mhm.
who we are because we were never taught that.
Right.
You were never
Mhm.
taught. And you're
Mhm.
teaching your daughters to love themselves first. That way,
Yeah.
some dude can't come along and
Absolutely.
bamboozle them into,
Right.
anything saying, oh, you're beautiful, you're whatever, and just hit the lines with
Yes,
them. Yeah.
absolutely. And that's one of the things that I have told them. I practiced it just starting from day one, just babies, telling them, how smart they are. I tell them they're beautiful, they're pretty, but I don't even want their focus to be on how pretty I am or how beautiful I am. I tell them how talented they are, how smart they are, and how beautiful they are inside and out. I tell them they're beautiful because they're kind. They're beautiful because they are respectful, that they love God. All of that makes them beautiful in addition to the physical aspect. They really are beautiful little girls. And I'm not just saying that because I'm their mother. They're beautiful little girls, but it's because of everything, from the inside out. And I do that because I want them to be so full of positivity and love that when they go out there into the ugly world and the world starts trying to tell them who they are not and what they can't
Mhm.
do, that they don't even receive it because
They're
they're
almost
so full
immune
and
to it.
they're so
Hmm.
immune to it. And
Hmm.
secondly, like you said, someone's, dusty son can't and call them pretty and turn their, just automatically
Yes,
turn their head
that's
because
right.
like, oh, he said I was pretty. You hear that all the time. So he
Right.
has to come with something better than, oh, you look so good. He has to try harder than that. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I fill them up with that so that they can't hear anything else. If anyone tries to say, oh, you're ugly, or, your hair is this and your hair is that. No, they're already confident.
Yeah. Yeah. Wouldn't that be something? I think it makes me think, Erica, if it had been that other parents would do that with their children, I wonder how that would impact bullying in our
Mm,
schools, right? Would our
mhm.
kids bully each other? Because I believe it's connected to a low self esteem thing.
Yeah.
When these kids don't know who they are,
Mhm.
then they are so busy comparing themselves to someone else, it causes them to
Yeah.
tear someone else down. And,
Jealousy.
and it-
Mhm.
jealousy. And the thing
Mm.
is, it doesn't stop with adulthood, right?
Right,
You have
right.
adult bullies.
Yeah, yes, if you do.
Yeah, you have
You
adult
do.
bullies,
Mhm.
in the court system. So uh, let's see. So, tell me, did you choose to be a single mother?
Mm. You know, that's a really, I would just say, like, your first thought is no, I would never choose this, but I guess in a way I did, because the choice is always I could have aborted. I could have chosen not to. So I guess really I did. Um, I was not married. Was in a long-term relationship, but wasn't married. And so I chose to continue with the pregnancy. I knew I was going to be a single mother. So I guess I did. I did
Yeah,
choose to be one. It's not what I envisioned for myself when I was younger. Um, but nevertheless, this is where I am. I don't know where I might have been had I not had, like, I had my son, he's the oldest. I had him when I was 25. And so not real young, but so I was an adult and I was working and living on my own. Um, but I was enjoying my 20s for sure. Me and my friends, we were definitely, Friday night, we're off work. Where are we going? What's the hot spot? Where are we gonna go first? And just like all weekend, gone all
Pastor, I'm
weekend.
just having a hard time. I'm like, I can't see Pastor Erica over there. I'm just even
Because
if
look,
Pastor
because
Erica
I
comes
was
in, I'm
not
like,
past it.
she didn't say it.
No, I mean we had fun. We had fun.
Yeah.
Um, So, but still, I don't know where I might have been had I not had my son, because I really wanted to be better for him.
Mm.
Um, so he slowed me down, and I remember after I had him, one night sitting in the room, and I was sitting in the rocking chair. He was in his crib asleep, and I was sitting in the rocking chair next to him, and I was just looking at him. He to me, he was tiny, but he really wasn't tiny. He was like almost 9 pounds when he was born, so he was not tiny. But you
Oh,
just see this little baby just there, and he's helpless. He can't do anything without me. He can't
wow,
even eat if I don't feed him. Everything depends on me. And I remember sitting there and I was thinking, God, I cannot do this, without you.
wow,
Please help me, help
yeah,
me to be a good mother for him. And so in that moment, everything, became about him. Anything that I had not done up to that point that I had wanted to do with my life, I won't say it was on the back burner, but I just kind of took the mentality of I lived my life. I did what I wanted to do. He didn't ask to be here. I chose to have him, and he's here. So now he deserves everything I can give him. So he became
beautiful.
my focus. Now, not saying, everything was just completely perfect after that, and I just became this amazing mother, and because I was insecure and, scared, and, made a lot of mistakes along the way, but really that moment with him was kind of like the turnaround for me. I
Yes.
remember years ago, I was having a conversation with someone, and she asked me if I had had a dedication, if I had dedicated him. And I said, yes, I did. Because that in that moment, I had a dedication. I was like, well, I didn't have a formal ceremony where I stood in front of the church. But yeah, he's definitely been dedicated to the Lord. So I sat there that night in that rocking chair and prayed over him, and gave him to God and said, God, I need you to help me raise this young man. So, yeah.
Wow. That is wow. Just the transformation that it brought about,
Hmm.
and how you um saw yourself, because you're at a really a good age to have children. 25
Yeah.
is a nice
Hmm.
age, really, to start having children. So
Well,
as
you
you
would think that, but now, because like I said, I was working, I was living on my own. Um, I can't say I was completely responsible, um, but now I look at him at the same age
yeah,
that I was when I had him, and he's a
wow.
baby. So, like, I
It seems so
cannot
young
imagine.
now, all of a sudden.
Yes,
Yes.
absolutely.
Okay.
I cannot imagine him being someone's husband or being someone's father.
My goodness.
He's my baby. So, and I can imagine that's how my mom felt about me having
Yeah.
him at 25. I was her baby.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Yep. Wow, that's so good. Would you recommend it? Now, so I'm 22, I'm 25,
Mhm.
and I'm about to become a single mother, possibly,
Mm. Would
because
I
of my
recommend
actions. I'm in a long-term relationship. I'm not
it?
married.
Mhm.
Would you recommend
Absolutely 0 out of 10 would not recommend.
that?
No,
Wow.
I would not. And let me just say, I wouldn't. If you're pregnant, then yeah, I'm all for this. You can do this. You can do it. Would I recommend someone go out and try to be a single mother? I wouldn't. But there are, just different. I mean, so many different things to consider. Um, I guess I'm thinking about people who've never been married or, don't have any kids that want to adopt, that's something different. But
Yeah.
for me, being young and even being in a relationship, I'm having sex outside of marriage that results in a pregnant. It was not planned. It was an accident.
Okay.
Um, I would not recommend doing that. I'm trying to, take my religious lens off, because of course, we know fornication, absolutely going outside of the will of God, I would not recommend.
Yeah.
But even now, looking back, when even being in a long-term relationship, when you have a child outside of marriage, I think you're just kind of really either the relationship is going to end in a marriage, you all are going to get married, or you all are just going to break up. That child is
Wow.
going to,
Okay.
because
Be
for what it
impacted by
does,
that.
it
Yeah.
really is, because
Hmm.
what it does is it highlights what's not right in the relationship.
Okay.
So for me, really, my son and his father and I, that relationship just really shouldn't have happened anyway. It was kind of doomed to fail anyway. We were in a long distance relationship,
Oh, wow. Okay.
didn't really have, much in common. Um, but when you're just having fun, young and having fun, none of that matters,
Yeah. Yeah.
None of that matters because we don't have any responsibilities. He's not responsible for me in any way. I don't owe him anything. We're dating, but he lives somewhere else and I live here. But when you bring a child into it,
Yeah.
then it's like, hey, I need you to step up. I need this because he needs food, he needs diapers, he needs this, doctor's bills and all that.
Wow.
Then you start to see, okay, his work ethic isn't like mine. His views on raising children are not like mine. So all those things you're supposed to talk about when you're
Hmm.
dating, but we weren't talking about because hey, we're just having fun and we weren't thinking about being parents anyway. It just happened. Now you just really see, you know what? I don't even like you.
Wow.
I don't even like you.
Okay.
And he probably didn't like me much, but just family, the way he was raised was so different than the way he was raised by a single mother. And, I so you just all that comes into play. So the
Yeah.
way, his father wasn't in the home, so he didn't really know how to be a father because he didn't really have one.
Wow.
And
Okay.
I know I had one and I had an amazing father. And so that's what I want for my kids, but that's not you. And so now we're arguing all the time. So,
Wow.
so I think when you have kids outside of marriage, that's what happens. So like I say, if either you guys determine, hey, we really are in love with each other and we want this to work, we're gonna come together and be a family, or you're gonna break up. And
Wow.
so, but for me, when we broke up, my son, he was like 5 months old, you
Oh,
know.
okay.
Yeah.
He's a baby
And
still.
yeah, he was a baby, but really the writing was on the wall when he was born. And we just kind of
Okay.
drug it out, until till he was about 5. And then it was like, you know what, I can't do this anymore. And so for a long time, well, my son, he was probably about 3 when I started dating again and met a guy. He and I were together almost 10 years. And within that, 10
Okay.
years, I had my 2 daughters while we were together. And um, during that time, still was not married to him either, but I was going through that, how we try to rationalize, what we're doing. And I was in that phase where like, "Oh, well, we don't need to be married. Married is just a piece of paper. It doesn't mean anything and all that." But same thing, just it was not working. The kids came into play and it's like, hey, not stepping up, you know, just not working out, and other things came into play with him. He just found out unfaithful and all that other stuff. But so no, I would not. It's too easy. I would not recommend being a single parent outside of, just I would not recommend any of this outside of the covenant of marriage, because under that covenant you're protected. You have certain assurances. It was easy for me and them to just break it off. We
And walk away.
are,
Yeah.
yeah, we just walk away. You just
Mm-hmm.
walk away. And that ultimately is unfair to them. Now, my kids, they are blessed, they are amazing, um, because God is good. But no, I honestly, as great a mother as I know I am, and as much as God has
Mm-hmm.
been there and He's provided and taken care of all of us, they really deserve a two-parent household, you know. So that's, I would not say really regret, but if I have to, just think of anything, I do hate that they never had that, because I know what that's like. Yeah.
That is so good, Erica. It was almost one of my questions
Mm,
to you. Is that other person necessary? So is it necessary for them to have a father that they're connected to? And it sounds like you just answered that.
mhm.
Yes. And
Yeah.
it's been my thought for a long time, the reason that we're given two parents is because we do need them, and a
Mhm.
lot of times overwhelmingly our men are just missing
Mhm.
from the fold. And what that causes is the same thing you're telling your daughters coming from their father. It's different because he's the
Absolutely.
first man to tell them how beautiful they are, how
Mhm.
smart they are.
Absolutely.
They hear it from a male, they need to hear it, and that's
Mhm.
great because maybe their brother is telling them the same thing. So as long as they're hearing it from a male, that's
Mhm.
always a good thing, for them to hear that. But yeah, that was going to be
Absolutely.
one of my questions. I was going to
Yeah.
ask you, and I
Mhm.
had to wipe that question. Is that necessary? Is that role necessary? Because some women are
Yes.
celebrating Father's Day as if they can be both.
No.
Some men are celebrating
No.
Mother's Day as if they can be.
No. And that's just one I've never. Now, if someone tells me Happy Father's Day, I don't get all up on my soapbox and just be like, "Ah," but it really does irk me because I'm not their father. I am their mother who has to sometimes do everything, but I'm not their father. You know, they have a father. He's not, not in their lives, but they have a father, and it's not me. I'm just an overworked mother. That's what I am. But absolutely, I I do believe without a doubt that fathers are necessary. That role is necessary. That's how God created, the family. That's what He instituted. I went outside of His plan. And so, because I've gone outside of His plan, even though He is taking care of us, um, there's still some downsides. Um, you know, I, I, I have to, I have to operate in both roles, like I said. And I also have to be conscious of, because they don't see that in the home, having to kind of teach them, this is how a man should treat you. Don't accept this, don't
That's good.
accept that. When, if I
Yeah.
was in a loving, God honoring marriage, they would see that in the home.
Mm.
I saw how my father treated my mother. I saw, that he went out and he worked hard to take care of her, to take care of us. How he came home, we ate dinner together every night. We did things, took family vacations. He was home in the evening. He wasn't out running the streets. On the weekend, he was in his reclining chair watching his westerns, or he was out in the yard doing the yard work. He washing the cars. I saw him doing all of those things. So I have, I went out in the world and I didn't necessarily choose that, but I saw it. Um, and they don't get to see that. So there's the downside of that. And not to mention, there are things when they're growing up too, schools always have the donuts with dads and that sort of thing that they don't
Mm,
get to participate in. Um, that they, see other dads coming up to the school and, those hard conversations you had to have when they were little. Now it does not bother them, too much. We have conversations sometimes, but I will say they're healthy and, they're okay, emotionally and mentally. But that was another, like, I had to work really hard to make sure that they were, that they were okay emotionally and mentally, because of the absence of their father. Um, but so I say a father is necessary within the right context. Their father is not in their lives because I don't think it would be healthy for him to be.
wow, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good to point
So,
that out. Yeah.
so
Hmm.
it's not, and that was a hard conversation also. That ultimately it was his choice to stay away, but my ultimatum was, hey, if you are not going to be a consistent, positive presence in their lives, then you're not going to be in their lives. So you need to make that decision. Are you going to show up? Are you going to be responsible? Are you going to do what you're supposed to do and be a father? Because we're not doing, that in and out, I'm not taking care of, mm-mm. So, he chose to stay away. I didn't, but that was also one thing, I had to make sure that I was clear that I'm not keeping him away, because
Okay.
I never wanted them, and I never want my kids to say, oh, I didn't know my father because my mother kept him from us.
Right.
I don't keep him away. He number hadn't changed, address hadn't changed. you know, yeah, he is not like he's reached out and I won't let him speak to them. He just, chose to stay away.
Choice.
So, and that's on him because I really do believe you reap what you sow, and
Mhm.
um, you cannot have kids in this world that you just willfully ignore and believe that that's not going to come back on you. So,
Mhm.
yeah, and it has. So you do hear things, and it's not
Mhm.
going well. Not going well for him.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. And that may be the missing link for him, right? Just
Mhm.
having your children, uh, they're a blessing.
Mhm.
Kids are a
Absolutely.
blessing.
Mhm.
I don't have any, but I
Mhm.
know for well they are a blessing. And
Yeah.
I've had thoughts that, man, I should have just let one slip through and I would have had
Mhm.
children
So
today,
it,
you
it
know?
is hard, but one of the things I do think about is when I look at them, he really is. He's missing out because they
Yeah.
are
All
amazing.
children.
You know,
They are
man,
awesome.
they're amazing. Yeah. So I'm like
Yes.
that. It's his loss. So they while they are missing. They're missing out on a father and what a father could be, but in all honesty, that's not in him. you know.
Mm,
So even if he was in their lives, they would not still would not have the father, that they should have. So um, but still, with all of that, I do say strongly, yes, fathers are absolutely necessary.
yeah, that's so good.
Mhm.
How do you take and merge all of that together? So how do you take your all of your hats and just put them into one? You're a mother, you're a daughter, you're a sister, you're a
Mm.
minister, you're a single person. So now you want to start dating somebody. How do you take and how does that work?
It works better now. I will say now in my 50s that I'm happier than I've ever been. In the beginning, being a new mother, I was really insecure. And then at that age too, I was really prideful. So I was like, I'm gonna prove to everyone I can do this. I can be a single mom, and I can do all of this on my own because, like I said, I came from a two-parent household. So, my father passed away before I had my son. So my mother was not happy when I told her I was pregnant,
Mm,
because I was not married. So, she was not happy. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna prove, I can do this, because the expectation from her was, okay, well, now you're pregnant and you're single, you're gonna be on welfare and your life is just gonna go downhill and da da da. I mean, we actually had that conversation. That's what she
yeah.
said to me. So, but I was like, no, I'm educated. I'm working. I was working in the finance industry then. Got my own place. So all of a sudden I'm not going to be on welfare and go live in the
Go
projects.
downhill all of a sudden.
Right,
Yeah.
right. But so in my head, I was like, I gotta prove I can do this. But that led to me really trying to be superwoman because I didn't want to ask for
Mm,
help.
yeah.
And, that was not happy because I'm tired. I'm trying to do everything. I need help, but
Mhm.
I'm not going to ask for it because I got too much pride now. But God had to break all that down and show me it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to put myself first sometimes. Um, it's okay, to do things for myself. Everything does not have to be about my kids. So if I need to, go spend the day by myself, whether that's shopping, going out to eat, going to the movies, going out with girlfriends, whatever helps to fill me back up so that I'm not running on
Very good.
empty and I can give them the best of me,
Oh, that's good.
then, that's what I
Yeah.
do. But in my
Yeah.
younger years, I was running on empty and, thinking everything had to be about them. Couldn't go anywhere without them. Couldn't, spend money unless I was getting something for them. Just everything was about them. Now, they are one of my highest priorities, but I know who I am outside of them. So I guess to answer your question, how do I juggle all of that? Is I know who I am outside of all of those roles. So my identity is not caught up in being a mother. My identity is not in being a daughter. My identity is not in being a sister. Those are roles, the hats that I wear, but who I am at my core is I'm a daughter of God. I'm a lady, who happens to be a mother and a daughter and a sister. So putting everything in, you know, proper perspective, in proper order, God, making sure that I put him first and, then my family. And so he just really has aligned everything to where I have time and to do what I need to do for my kids. Whatever he has for me to do, which is now, working in full-time ministry, I just found if I follow him, he lines everything else up. I'm not running on empty. I'm enjoying all of the different roles that I play, and they all work together.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm a mother, but my kids, they serve too. So, they serve at the church, with me. So I could be serving on Sundays and they're serving, whatever capacity they serve in at the church. My son, he's serving. We get together on Sundays and really now my entire family goes to church. So, and then, we go have family dinner on Sunday. So all of the different roles kind of merge and they just all flow together, so
Who you are.
yeah,
It's
it's
just who
who
I
I
who
am.
you are.
It's
I
just
think
who
that's
I
so
am.
good. Your
Mhm,
identity, you know who you are, but
I know
that's
who I am.
what you happen to be. I am a mother. I am a sister. I am a
Mhm,
daughter.
mhm.
I'm a
Yeah,
minister. I'm all of
mhm.
that.
All of that.
But I'm me
Mhm. And
in the
each one
process.
complements the other and it doesn't take away. from the
That's
other.
good.
So the fact that I'm a minister doesn't
Wow.
take away from being a mother, and then just also having those boundaries in place. So
That's really good.
I don't feel I don't feel guilty when I say no to something.
Mhm.
Um, so if I have to say no to a serving opportunity because it would cause stress on my family, then I'm okay saying no. When I say yes, I make sure that, it's my best yes because I've
Mhm.
weighed all of it. Like, okay, I can say yes to this opportunity, or I can even say yes to doing something with my family because there's no conflicts anywhere. Yeah. So
Yeah,
yeah, God he just works all that out.
absolutely.
Mhm.
See, it's something that you taught me there, right?
Mhm.
So, tell me this. When
Mhm.
you say no, then what if somebody questions your no? Then
Mhm.
this is what you taught me.
Yes.
So tell me what happens when somebody questions your no.
It's like my no does not require an explanation because my yes does not require an explanation. Because
I
if
love it.
you ask me, well, Erica, I'm just gonna say money. Erica, can I borrow $100? And I say, well, yes, Kelly, you can borrow $100. You're not going to follow that up with why. You're just gonna take the yes. Just be happy I said yes, take your money and go on. But if I say no, people feel like they're entitled to know why. No. No is really it's a complete sentence, no period. I don't have to say anything after the no, just no. No, no, I'm not coming. No, I can't do that. You know, no, my girls can't go here or there. Just, no. And those watching may not know me, but you know me. So it's never I'm never mean in how
No,
I say no.
no,
And
absolutely not.
yeah, and most of the times I will phrase it differently. Well, no, I'm sorry, I can't do that, but
Mhm.
here's an alternative. I can do this or I can't do it that day, but I am free on this day. I soften it up a little bit.
That's good. That's really good. So what are your lessons? What did you learn? Have you learned from being a single mother and all of the roles that you play over the years?
Um, to really It's okay to ask for help. Um,
That's my problem.
yeah, it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to accept help.
Yeah.
Um, that I'm not superwoman and God does not mean for me to try to be.
Yeah.
Is if I can do everything, why do I need him? Um, and it's okay to think about myself
Mhm.
sometimes, to put myself first sometimes. Um, Because I do have a lot of people that depend on me, but if I don't put myself first, what will they do if I'm not here for them? So if I'm not putting, my mental health or even my physical health, my emotional health, my spiritual health, if I'm not making that a priority, then if something happens to me, what will they do? So
Yeah.
I have to put myself first for them because I want to be around a long time for them. So that requires me putting myself first. So really that I don't have to do everything on my own. And it's okay to put myself first and really being confident in who I am.
Yeah.
I was not in those early years. And so everything that I said I learned, I struggled with because I was insecure. I wasn't comfortable in who I was as a mother. So I didn't want to ask for help because I felt like I had to prove everyone wrong that I could do this and do it successfully. But I was doing a poor job, like I was
Oh,
taking
wow.
care of my kids, but I was not happy. And so I know that probably transferred to them. I know they could feel it because I think, I felt like I was kind of just going through the motions when
Mhm.
I was younger, doing everything, but I wasn't happy. And it took me, going through, a small group, a deliverance curriculum where it just really, lifted all that off of me. And I knew it was okay, for me to put myself first. I let go of everything that was just kind of holding me back. And so now, um, everything that we talked about in the past, all the roles and all the hats that I play just kind of come together and they complement one another. And I am truly happy. And I know my kids, they know it. So me and my kids, we have fun together. I enjoy being with them. I enjoy, taking vacations with them. It's not like something like, oh, okay, we got to take a family vacation. Like
Are we
we
there yet?
have,
Are we
right,
there
right.
yet?
Are we there yet? You're like, oh, we got to take this vacation and everybody's going to have fun, whether you like it or not. We actually, we are enjoying one another. There are times when, they're teenagers, so they do teenage things and they test the boundaries sometimes. But, when I think of what we could be going through, what my son could be doing, what my daughters could be doing, you know, we we're I would say I'm really blessed. I really am. But
Yeah.
my biggest lesson is just it it's okay. It's okay to admit you're not okay. It's
Mhm.
okay to ask for help. It's okay to accept the help when it's offered.
Yeah. That's it. You know what? Just giving yourself permission for
Mhm.
all of that to feel.
Mhm.
Permission
Mhm.
to feel whatever you feel.
That's it.
It
Yeah.
took me a long time to realize that my feelings are just that and I have a right
Mhm.
to them.
Mhm.
I thought
Mhm.
everybody else can, you don't have to feel. You heard someone say that before. You shouldn't feel that way.
Well, yes. You're like, how
Yeah, you
can you
can't tell
tell
me
me
how
how
to
am I
feel.
supposed
It's
to
just feel.
feel?
If I could tell myself to not feel that way, I obviously wouldn't want to
Right.
feel
If
this way.
only with that it's not that easy. My feelings are valid,
Yes.
but I'm not ruled by my feelings. I think that's the key. Recognize how you're feeling and don't try to suppress it, but don't let it control.
That's it.
So
That's
if I'm
good.
angry or, by just life happens and people, they are who they are. I cannot stop myself from feeling offended, but I
Hmm.
can stop myself from acting
Acting
out.
on it.
Mhm,
Yeah.
in offense
Yeah.
or anger or, the fact that I'm sad, make me do something. So like I tell my kids, don't let a temporary feeling cause you to make a permanent decision.
Uh,
They're like in
that's
how
good.
you feel right now. Think about whatever you do, how it's going to impact something on down the line.
Yeah.
So yeah, yeah, your
It's
feelings are
really good.
valid, but you don't have to be controlled by your feelings.
That's really good. That's really good.
Mhm.
What, tell me, are there any advantages or even disadvantages to being single and being a single parent?
Um,
What's the advantages?
this is going to sound selfish, but really the only advantage I can think of is that I don't have to deal with a lot of the headaches that people that are co-parenting have to deal with.
Okay.
So I don't have to okay my decisions with anyone else. Um, I
Mm.
don't have to worry about my kids going to spend the weekend with their father and not knowing who they're going to be around or, you know, his new significant other that I may not like. So I I don't have to deal with any of that. So, but so I don't like to say that might sound really selfish on on my part.
Well, it's just an advantage. I mean,
Yeah,
that
I mean it
is
it
a real
really is.
advantage.
It's an advantage that I mean I get them to myself. You know,
Yeah.
I do have, my circle, I have, my mother and, my brother, they're really good. So, in my village, my sister friends, everyone that God has placed in my life is really, really good. But if I had to think of an advantage, I think that would be it. That I don't have to deal with the back and forth or, just the headache of co-parenting. And I know there are some really healthy, co-parenting
Oh, yeah.
dynamics out there, but I think it's pretty safe to say those are probably few and far between, because when people break up, there's some bitterness, there's resentment, and
Mhm.
all that
Mhm.
comes into play. There are people, using the kids to get back at one another. And I never had to deal with any of that. Now, if them having their father in their lives, if we could do that and it'd be healthy, and I knew that he was doing what he was supposed to be doing, and but that's not the case. So
Yeah.
um like I said earlier in the conversation, even if he had been in their lives, I don't know that they would have benefited from that. So the fact that I really do believe that God does work good in all things.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
even though, his plan was not for me to go out and, be outside of sex outside of marriage, be in relationships that did not the relationship didn't honor him,
Mhm.
but he used that,
Yeah.
and I
Absolutely.
say that because I mentioned my father passed before I had my son. Well, it was suddenly unexpected. He and my mom, like I said, had been together since they were 14. She was devastated when he
Yeah.
passed,
Yeah.
and she kind of went through a depression.
Mm.
Well, she got that light back when I had my son. So that,
Mm.
he really did. He brought her back.
That's
So,
awesome.
I really do believe God used that. And so now, her grandchildren are just they're not her life, but she loves her grandbabies.
Mhm.
So not only did, they kind of turn her life or, well, gave her a light back, that positivity back. And people that know my mom can't even really imagine her not being that way. But
Mhm.
she really was, she was a different person.
Wow.
So they brought that light back for her. But for me, they slowed me down and made me more responsible. And so if it had not been for them, I don't know that I may be Pastor Eric. I
Mhm.
there's no telling what I
Wow.
would be doing. So God took everything that I always say I didn't know what I was doing, but God did.
No.
So he
Mhm.
used all of that,
Oh,
he
yeah.
so nothing goes to waste. But even in that I had to go to him. So remember I said, having that conversation with him sitting next to my son as he was in his crib saying, Lord, I need you to help me.
Yeah.
Who knows where I would be, what type of mother I might have been had I not done that, had I
Wow.
not invited him into how I was raising my kids. Now, yeah, that was with my son, and yeah, I went on to have two more. So still that was my mistake. Well, not mistake, but still me not truly walking in what he had for me. So like I said, even then when I had that conversation with him, it wasn't automatically perfect. I still
Yeah.
had to go through, I was still dealing with stuff. But ultimately, he got me to where he meant for me to be. You know, I invited him in, and along the way, I might make a mistake, but then I'm like, okay, Lord, I need you to show me. I need you to do this for me. But then ultimately, I was like, okay, Lord, I'm tired of being half in, half out. You
Mhm.
I need
Mhm.
you, I'm all yours because this is what I this is what I've gotten myself into. being half in, half out. This is what it's resulted in. So I need you to take
Yes.
this, and I need you to take me, and I need you to, I need you to work all through the situation. I need you to help me to be a good mother because I can't do any of this without you. And he did. He has shown out. Like I said, my son is an adult, and he's 25 now, and he's a productive citizen. He has a good job. He's going to church, no kids. He doesn't run the street, never been arrested, never been in any kind of trouble. Just good young man, and protective of all of us. My daughters are honor roll students. They serve in the church.
Yeah.
They played their athletes, and they're kind. They're good, they're respectful, and they are just really sweet young ladies. They're not out there trying to look grown. They are just, they're just really, really good kids.
Yeah. She's not biased, y'all.
Not
That's the truth.
at all.
That's the truth. They really are. They're like, she's biased. No,
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 no.
telling you the truth. Really are. They're good kids. They
Yeah,
really,
but
really
then I
are.
take some of the credit, but
Mhm.
God gets all the credit.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. That's so good. What's the disadvantage then?
Mm, I have to do, I have to be mother and father.
Mm.
You know, um, I have to be mother and father, that they don't get to see that. They don't get to see a loving, healthy marriage. They see their mother doing everything. And so that's something that I became aware of with my son. He sees me do everything. So yes, I want him to know, that ladies are strong and we're capable of doing everything. But I don't want him to grow up with that, strong black woman, you
Mm.
know,
Hmm.
that image in his head, like, oh, well, my mother doesn't, she didn't even need a man. She does da, 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 da. So I had to, yes, I can do everything, but I'm still a lady. I'm still soft, I'm still vulnerable. Um, I'm not helpless, but you know, when he became of age, started really being mindful of asking him to do certain things,
Yeah.
like, yeah, I can change the light bulb, but you know, I
Hmm.
need you to do it. I need you to take the trash out. I need you to fix this. I need you to, you go cut the grass. You go do, all those things. And I I know, some people will get into the traditional roles and all of that, so but hey,
I have no
I don't
problem with
want to
it.
do anything in the yard.
I don't want to
I
wash
don't right.
cars.
I
I'm
don't
just
want to wash
saying.
cars. I don't want to cut grass. I don't want to fix my car. I don't I am a lady, and I would like for someone to do
Right. I'm
all of
not a
that for
mechanic.
me.
I'm a lady. Okay. And
Right.
not
I
that
don't
lady mechanics aren't ladies. I'm just not a mechanic.
I'm not a mechanic. And so I think, that's the disadvantage.
Yeah.
And also, um not that you shouldn't use discernment and be careful when you're dating, but I think even more so for me now, because I have to consider them. It's not just me.
Right.
So, I really, I think, are just even more careful about who I bring around them, because,
Yeah.
there are some sick people in this world.
Mm-hmm.
There are people
That's
using
right.
parents to get to their children. Yeah. Sons and daughters, you know.
Wow.
So that's the disadvantage is, they my kids don't get the benefit of everything that comes with a two-parent home, seeing a healthy relationship, the two incomes. They don't get
Yeah.
the benefit of that. They're lucky. I can't think of very many things that they may have wanted to do that they haven't been able to do, but I have to work really, really hard,
Yeah.
to make that happen. But they are blessed. They even, they see some of their friends that are in two-parent households, and we're not materialistic, but they know that they are lucky. They have a home. We have a decent car. We take vacations. They're able to play the sports they want to play. It's not like they're, wearing hand-me-downs, or I have to go, shop at thrift stores. They're keeping up with their peers more or less. So
Yeah.
they're blessed, but I have to work really, really hard. But again, God is good. He is the one has put me in a position to where I have been able to send my son to college, and, you know, send my daughters, to a good school. Just me.
Mhm.
He has done that. But
Yeah.
that's the disadvantage, is that I am doing everything that
Yeah.
a two-parent household would do just by myself.
Yeah. Wow. So good. What would you share with your younger self? What would you
Mm,
tell even before children, 24-year-old, 23-year-old Erika?
I would say, girl, don't call him back.
Run, girl, run. Faster. Run.
Don't give him your phone number.
Oh, ain't gonna turn out well. I'm gonna tell you how it's gonna
Right.
turn
Right.
out.
So definitely, yeah, I would tell myself that. Just like, don't even go there. But also, just don't stress out so much. It's gonna work out. Things are gonna be okay. Be confident in who you are. All the things that I pour into my daughters, I would tell myself those things. And not saying, like I said, my parents were great, but I can't really say that I knew I was loved. I'll say that. I knew I was loved. I was a daddy's girl. My mom and I became closer as I became an adult. I was really more of a daddy's girl. Um, but they did always tell me, that I was pretty. And so I never had low self-esteem. I just was shy and more of an introvert. And because they were not, I got teased, teased in your own family. It
Hmm.
was just, and so that kind of led me to kind of clam up. So I would really tell my younger self that who you are is okay. Yeah, be confident in who you are, and be more discerning about who you get into relationships with.
Right. When we're young, that's kind of sort of par for the course is
Mhm,
we do tend to fall into and be a little less discerning than we should be
mhm,
um, in relationships. I'm not saying that's okay. I'm saying that's part of being young,
mhm,
And somehow when you look back, I know when I look back over some of the things that I did young, I'm somewhat glad I did them while I was young.
mhm.
I know I couldn't handle it
Yes.
now in my 50s. I'm like,
Mm-mm.
oh, come on. Just even thinking about the dating scene now as a single
Yes.
person is just like, I don't know if I want that stress.
Mm-mm.
It's like, oh, okay. I don't,
Right, yes.
oh,
Yeah,
can be,
it's
yeah,
rough in
yeah,
these dating streets out here.
yes. I'm like, because I know now what I didn't know then. I know what I want.
Yes,
I know what
that
I want.
yeah.
I will take and
Mhm.
what I won't take.
Mhm. Mhm.
So
And not
I'm not.
settling. Like, I'm not settling. And it seems like that's what a lot of people are doing. And expect you and think that it's something wrong with you because you won't.
How many times have I gotten that question? What's wrong with
Mhm.
you? You're not married. What's
Mhm.
wrong?
Mhm.
Because I'm
And that's
more
why I tell
discerning.
people,
Mhm.
it's really easy. It's easy to find a man.
Oh
It's
yeah,
easy to get, like, so if I wanted to have one, I could. If I wanted to be married, I could.
yeah.
But the right person,
Said
that's not so easy to find. You
right.
know, God's best for me is worth waiting for.
Yes.
And
Absolutely.
so I told he knows, and I know because throughout this whole conversation, I've kind of laid out the mistakes that I've made. So obviously that had a hand in me
Mhm.
delaying what God had for me because I was too busy, entertaining people that He did not have for me and making mistakes. But now that He has me on the right track, I just believe He has the right person for me.
I believe
His
it too.
timing is perfect.
Oh yeah.
He's
Oh yeah.
preparing me.
Oh
He
yeah.
may be preparing that person as well. We
Oh
may not
yes.
be ready to find one another yet, or maybe we have found one another, or maybe, we are in the vicinity of one another, but maybe he just has not orchestrated the right timing yet.
It's not the season yet for
Yeah,
that.
it's not the season yet, but whatever it is, I don't spend my days stressing about that.
Now, when I was
Um,
younger, I did though, Erica. I
mhm.
spent, is that him? Is that him?
Right.
Now it's like, is that him? Oh, just
Right. I
coming
love
off
that. I just,
the top.
you know, because I have girlfriends that will ask that, like, well, you don't want to date, or you hadn't found anybody yet. I'm like, well, first of all, I'm not looking for anyone. I don't feel like I should be looking. Um, I'm living my life,
Enjoy
but
it.
it's not
Yes.
like I'm just, an old maid living, in the house, not going anywhere. I go out, so I feel like the people who make those comments don't really know me, because if you really knew me, you would know I go out a lot. You know,
Mhm.
I meet friends, I go out, comedy shows, I might go to a jazz club, just I go out and have fun. I am
Yeah.
living my life and I am enjoying myself.
Yes.
So there are plenty of opportunities for, and men do approach, but you use that discernment.
That's it. That's it.
So,
Yeah.
so it's not the fact of like I'm not meeting people. You go to the grocery store and meet people, you know.
Yeah.
It's just God hasn't put that right person, in my path, or He hasn't put me in the path of that person. But
Yeah.
in the meantime, I don't feel like that's His responsibility. I'm like,
Right.
Lord, you know that one of my heart's desires is to be married. I've told you that. I've prayed about it. You know it.
Hmm.
So I trust that you're gonna make it happen.
That's right.
So I don't have to keep pestering you about it. Like, okay, Lord, when you gonna make it happen? Is that him, Lord?
Are we there
Or
yet?
don't
Are we there
forget, don't forget I asked you, about my
Yeah.
husband. Did you forget I asked you about
Right. He's not a
I don't
forgetful
have
guy.
it. Right. I don't do like he just I gave it to him. I trust him with it. And I'm living my full best life until, in the meantime, until he makes it happen. And then when he makes that happen, that's just gonna be icing on the cake. My
Yeah,
life is already delightful, it's already full, I'm already happy. He's gonna bring somebody around that complements everything that I already have going on.
that is awesome. That's awesome. Well, let me tell you what time it is. It's time for you to connect the dots in the
No.
script. Tell us, I'm going to pull a card.
Hmm.
Now, if you pull it from, you can't see it,
Okay.
Psalms,
Okay.
I'm going to pull it from, says prayers and promises for women.
Hmm.
Which one would you prefer?
Um, prayers and promises for women. For
All right.
100, Alex.
Okay, here we go. We're coming from, and lo and behold, it would be a psalm. Psalm
Okay.
8 and 1 says, O Lord, our Lord, your majestic name fills the earth. Your glory is higher than the heavens.
Mm.
Connected to what we just talked about.
Mm. His glory. For me, when I think about that, like his glory is everywhere. But sometimes, just for me, I'm going to make it personal. So his glory is what I'm experiencing now. Just the peace and the joy and the happiness in all the roles that I'm operating in now. It was always there, but I was too self-absorbed to see it. So I was like, his glory, his majesty is all around. But I'm just now at a place in my life where I'm living in it. I'm in awe of it, every day, and I'm grateful for it. That is all over and all through my life.
Wow, that's so good. Erica, thank you. Just thank
you.
you for agreeing to do the Unboxed Pearls podcast. I know you said thank you for asking you to
You're
do
right.
it. Grateful that
Thank
you would even
you.
take the time to spend it with us today. I know that somebody was helped just because of your transparency
I
today.
pray so. Yeah.
So thank you so much for just sharing at that level. And hey, thank you everybody who's out there who's listened to this podcast, who's viewed it, and just spent time with us today, and even
Mhm.
other days that you've come to look for this podcast. So we hope that we've inspired you. We hope that we've
Absolutely.
encouraged you. And we hope that we didn't discourage you just because you are a single parent or you are in your
Absolutely.
singleness, but you got a pearl of wisdom out of this day. So we look for you again. Make sure you come again, share, like. We want you to even come to this podcast and subscribe to this podcast. But we thank you most of all for watching Unboxed Pearls today. God
Yeah.
bless you and have a great day.